Ahoy there, swabbies, and welcome to the good ship Dogbear. I will be your captain across these stormy waters that are the world of gaming. Today I will be jumping on a bandwagon that's been rolling for quite some time now and playing Dark Souls. So let's get straight into it. New game. First of all, I need a name. My name is Captain Dogbear, which doesn't fit. So for now I will be Captain Dogbear? That works for me. 6. I am in fact male, in case you couldn't tell by my enchanting voice. Moving on again. Class. For those of you who haven't played Dark Souls at all, you'll find that the classes are very much not set in stone. It's very easy to switch from a warrior to begin with to a spellcaster later on, so don't worry too much about it. All it really changes is your starting equipment and some of your initial stats. So for now, I'm going to just get naked and hit things with a stick. Next up, we have our gift. This is a secondary item that we begin with. We have a choice between a few different things. First, we have a choice of a goddess's blessing, which is our potion from a traditional RPG. We drink it, we gain some hit points. Pretty simple. Next up, we have the black fire bomb, which we can throw at enemies, set them on fire, deal a decent amount of damage. Fire's always good, especially for the sort of enemies we'll be fighting in here. Next up, we have Twin Humanities, which I'm going to talk about humanity possibly in the next video. I don't think that I can give it justice while I'm rushing through a character creation screen. It is an integral part of the game and it deserves a lot more time to explain. Next up, we have binoculars. I'm pretty sure everyone knows what those do. Next on the list, we have a pendant. I do not in fact know what this does. I have played about 40 hours of Dark Souls. I haven't finished it, so I don't know all of the ins and outs. After a certain point, it's going to look like I am completely and utterly clueless, and that's pretty much the reality of the situation right now. So I don't know about that one. Next up, however, we have the Master Key, which I do know what it does. It opens doors. A lot of them you can open with the Master Key a lot sooner than you would normally be able to do in the game. However, as far as I'm aware, you do not need the Master Key to explore 100% of the areas in the game. There will always be an alternative way to get in there. Next up, we have the Tiny Beings Ring, which is another one that appears in quite a few games. You equip it, you slowly recover hit points. Pretty simple. And finally, we have the Old Witch's Ring, which is another one I don't know what it does, so I'll take it for this playthrough and maybe we can find out. Physique. Now we're on to the more aesthetic properties of our character. I'm pretty scrawny in real life, so I might as well be here too. Moving on to the face. You'll find you get a lot of presets and you can then go on and further customize them. The only thing I think that you can't customize is your hairstyle. Everything else is pretty much fair game. However, take the dark brown, you'll see down here that there is a customize button where you can go into the more detailed character creation. However, since I am wanting to get into the game, and I'm sure you are too, I'm pretty okay with that. I'm looking very fabulous at the moment. So, moving on, I'm going to hit OK. There's going to be a couple of cutscenes which I am not going to talk through. This is one of my own personal pet peeves. So, you know, anyone else who does that, I'm just saying you might as well just skip the cutscene if you're going to talk over it. So I will see you on the other side.
In the age of ancients, the world was unformed, shrouded by fog. A land of grey crags, arch trees, and everlasting dragons. But then there was fire, and with fire came disparity. Heat and cold, life and death, and of course, light and dark. Then from the dark they came and found the souls of lords within the flame. first of the dead. The Witch of Asylum and her daughters of chaos. Gwyn, the Lord of Sunlight, and his faithful knights. And the furtive pygmy, so easily forgotten. With the strength of lords, they challenged the dragons. Gwyn's mighty lords peeled apart their stone skins. The witches weaved great firestorms. Nito unleashed a miasma of death and disease. And Seath, the scales, betrayed his own, and the dragons were no more. Thus began the Age of Fire. But soon the flames will fade, and only dark will remain. Even now, there are only embers. And man sees not light, but only endless nights. And amongst the living are seen carriers of the accursed dark side.
And we're back. You could probably gather from the cutscene that we are playing an undead character. If you couldn't gather from the cutscene, you can probably see it now, because I'm looking pretty emaciated. So, we start off in this little dungeon cell, locked away from the rest of the world. Whoever that dude was, we should thank him, because he dropped an item for us. All of the items dropped from enemies will appear as these little white, misty, gluey orbs. So, pick it up, we find out it's a dungeon key, and we can escape. Hooray! We walk out into what is basically the game's tutorial area. There are a number of messages here. At the moment, these messages are our tutorial. They'll tell us what to do, what the controls are. Later on, they do become quite interesting. They'll actually become messages from other players. I'll talk more about that when we find one. So we have right button to attack. I should say now that if you are just looking at this game, if you haven't got it yet, you're looking and deciding whether to... I never noticed that before. That's the first time I've seen that. Yeah, so like I said, I don't know everything that's going on at the moment. That kind of took me aback a bit. What was I saying? Yes. If you're just looking at the game and you don't have it already, it may only be worth it if you have a controller. Controller support is fairly good. I'm using an Xbox controller, but I know you can also use a PlayStation 3 controller pretty well. The keyboard controls, on the other hand, are not exactly ideal. I tried using them. I know that WSD is for movement. However, as far as I'm aware, I tried hitting escape to open up the menu. It didn't work. I don't know what the menu key even is. So yes, a controller is definitely preferable for Dark Souls. You'll see as we're killing enemies that we're absorbing a few little white, misty, glowy things from them that are not items. These are souls. These will become our currency later on. We'll use them to buy new equipment and upgrade our character. You can see your total souls in the bottom right of the screen. So we're going to walk out here, we're going to light this bonfire. Bonfires are basically our quick save points. Every time we die, we will go to the last bonfire that we rested at, which is a good system. However, if you're not careful, it can be a little bit awkward because you can end up going to bonfires that are a lot further away than you would perhaps like them to be. So let's go through here. And all of my character looking the way he is, I'm surprised he can even move those doors. So we're going to run in here. And meet this guy. Oh, that hurt. So yes, this guy does a lot of damage. The first time I came in here, I was very confused. I died a lot. I didn't know how to kill him because the weapon that you currently start with, you do practically no damage to him. It's very, very hard to kill him. It is possible. I know it is possible. People have done it. Kudos to them, for the record. But if you look over here, you'll find that there's a doorway you can run through. That kind of scared me a bit. And we'll find another bonfire. I'm not going to light that one just now because I'm hopefully not going to need it. I'm just going to run on. Walking down here, we find another item, which is the first shield of the game. I'm gonna make a point of saying this is always where you get your shield. First time I played, I ran straight past it. It makes the game a lot more difficult if you're going through it without a shield. That's all I'm gonna say. Chase this guy up here, we find another item, which is technically our starting item for our class, even though we kind of already have one, although it's not exactly great. So we're gonna go murder this guy with a club, beat him upside the head. If you're using a controller, right button is your light attack, right trigger is your heavy attack. Left button is to raise your shield, and right button is to parry, which I will demonstrate a bit more in a second. Come out here, more tutorial messages. B to backstep, which is a nice little dodge. And left stick and B to roll. While you're rolling, there is an invincibility frame, so you will not take damage at a certain point during that roll. So it's pretty nice. There's a little ninja flip to get out damage. I'm going to go down here first. And we can open this door, which leads back to the bonfire, which will allow us to regain our hit points, which is always fun. There we go, we're back at full health, so we can carry on. So back up the stairs, and then up the other stairs. And then we find that there's a skeleton waiting at the top who wanted to bowl us over. Hey, let's murder him. Actually, I'll demonstrate, or I will attempt to demonstrate the parry system now. If you time it just right, it will allow you to counter attack with a very powerful attack. a rather brutal one. I haven't seen it with the club before. That was rather mean. Come back down here, we see the bowling ball. Destroyed a little wall. And we found an NPC. I'm going to talk to him. I'm not going to talk over him. Like I said, I don't think it's right to talk over the game when the game is doing important stuff. So I will see you after I talk to him.
Oh, you. You're no hollow. Thank goodness. I'm done for, I'm afraid. I'll die soon, then lose my sanity. I wish to ask something of you. You and I are both undead. Hear me out, will you? Regrettably, I have failed in my mission, but perhaps you can keep the torch lit. There is an old saying in my family, thou who art undead art chosen, and thine exodus from the undead asylum maketh pilgrimage to the land of ancient lords. When thou ringeth the bell of awakening, the fate of the undead thou shalt know. Well, now you know, and I can die with hope in my heart. Oh, one more thing. Here, take this. An Estus flask. An undead favorite. Oh, and this. Now I must bid farewell. I would hate to harm you after death. So go now, and thank you.
No, thank you, Mr. Knight. You'll find that the Estus flask he just gave me is the most important item in the game. That is my opinion, at least. Every time you rest at a bonfire, your Estus flask will be recharged with normally 5 charges, but you can increase it. And every time you take a swig from it, you will regain hit points. It never exactly runs out. You can run out of charges, but you will never lose your flask. As far as I'm aware, at least. So we're going to use the key that he just gave us, walk outside, more messages. Press Y to wield your right weapon two-handed. So we can use the club two-handed, does more damage that way, but we can't use our shield and we can't really block as well. So, me personally I prefer the one-handed with the shield, bit more defense to it. Okay, now we have left stick plus right button to kick, and left stick plus right trigger to do a jump attack. I'm gonna mention these. When I first saw that, I thought I could run around and do them, but no, it just does heavy and light and heavy attacks respectively. You have to tap both the stick and the button at the same time in order to do the kick or the jump attack. There's the kick, and there's the jump attack. I just want to mention that because it had me confused for quite a bit of time. So let's not show off the jump attack on him. He did it to us. Beat him upside the head. Oh, there's another message there. Resting at bonfire revives enemies. Yeah, that's an important point that I completely overlooked actually. When you rest at a bonfire, all of the enemies that you killed, for example, if I kill these two and I killed their friend already, if I now go and rest at a bonfire, all 3 of these will respawn and I'll have to fight them all over again. So it's just something to be aware of if you're juggling hit point recovery with having to fight everything all over again. I would say there are some enemies that don't respawn, special mini-bosses and bosses, and some small enemies. However, the majority of 90% of them will respawn and you'll have to fight them again. Murder him. We come to a fog wall. When you go into a fog wall this size, it's generally a safe bet that it is going to be a boss room. Not all of them are. You'll remember that we went through one a bit earlier and it wasn't a boss room. This one, well, let's find out. Actually, let's pick this up first. And we have a bow already. That is really lucky, actually. I do like having a bow. So, we are going to traverse the white light. We end up back in the boss room. I'm going to run off here, hit the button. We're going to perform a plunging attack, which does all the damage. We're going to run away. Okay, already go. Okay. So, once you reach this stage, you do have to fight him. You can't run away again. General tactic is wait until he takes a swing and get murdered. That's not exactly the best tactic, is it? No. Okay, let me run away and heal a little bit if I can get away from him. Yep. Oh no! Oh, that's gonna hurt. Oh, he knocked me over, done million damage. That works for me. There we go. Okay. Yeah, well, as I was saying, general tactics are to wait until he takes a swing, get right behind him, and just beat away on him. And try not to do what I'm doing, which is basically getting pummeled by that giant club of his. While I'm doing this, you'll notice that in the top right of the screen there is a green bar under the red bar. The red bar is, of course, my hit points, which are so low right now. There we go. The green bar is stamina, which will deplete every time I swing my weapon, every time I do a roll, and every time I block damage with the shield. When it hits 0, if it's completely empty, then I become pretty much defenseless. I can't roll, I can't raise my shield. It's really not a good situation to be in, so it's worth keeping an eye on your stamina at all times, especially in a prolonged fight like this. Which for the record, I am doing terribly right now. I have seen people do a lot better than this. Oh, that could hurt. Oh, there we go. Die. Spanked him. Yeah. Okay, so from him we get a key leading outdoors. And we also get some humanity, which I will talk about in the next video. I think I mentioned that earlier. I'm going the wrong way. That's going back to the bonfire. So we're going to walk up here, use the key we got from the demon. And we are free from the Undead Asylum. So I'm going to run up here. This is pretty much the end of the tutorial area. I'm going to let you watch the cutscene once we get up here. I hope you're enjoying watching so far, and I will see you in the next video. Avast!